Go for it.
Oh, yeah. 2 pre-rolls today with our old friends Helix leading the way. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe. That's what we got. And the ultra-premium Elite collections. They got the Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers. Helix Kids. You take the Helix Sleep Quiz. You find your perfect mattress. Helix is offering 30% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/JRVP. helixsleep.com/JRVP. This is their best offer yet. It will not last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Also want to shout out Prize Picks. They offer injury insurance, so your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets hurt during this playoff basketball season. Download the app today. You use the code JRVP for a first deposit match up to $100. That's download the app today. Again, it's the code JRVP for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's just that easy. 2 pre-rolls. 3 episodes to go before school's out for summer. And the 4 kinds of sex. All coming up in episode 248 of the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. JRVP.
Junior Vice President.
La Mesa de Café.
Got my coffee. We're taping a little later. We got the Star Trek podcast out of here. What is La Mesa de Café?
La Mesa de Café, it's Spanish for the coffee table.
Oh.
I had heard about a movie. Aaron, have you heard of the coffee table?
No.
I had a friend text me and say, I can't wait to see this movie, and had a little blurb from the coffee table. This movie just came out in America on demand, and it came out in Spain a couple years ago. And I read the log line, and it just sounds like, where the comments are like, this is really hard to watch. And I'm like, it sounds like torture porn. I don't know. And then I saw some, like a TikTok or something, of like 10 best horror movies of the year. And they go from 10 all the way up to 1. And everyone, they're like, this wasn't that good, but it's like the 8th best of the year. This wasn't that good, it's the 7th best. And then it was like number 1, The Coffee Table. This was insane. Horror film, black comedy. And I was like, okay. Maybe I was wrong about what it is. I watched the trailer for The Coffee Table. Doesn't tell you anything. Makes it look miserable. But I rented it on Amazon Prime for $2, $3 the other night, and watched this movie without knowing anything. The trailer won't tell you anything. You can watch the trailer if you want.
Don't tell us too much then.
I'm not going to tell you anything. But I watched this movie. It's 90 minutes long. And I was totally wrong about torture porn, but it is a tough watch, which I watched the first 30 minutes. I was like, okay. And then the last 60 minutes, I had the biggest smile on my face of all time. Watched it again the next day because I heard it gets funnier the second time you watch it. I don't know if that's true, but it is a masterpiece.
Wow.
I cannot believe it got made. And I cannot believe that it exists in the world. And again, if you're a hardcore Jeselnik fan, if you subscribe to my philosophies on comedy and art, you will love this movie. I cannot recommend this movie to 99% of the people that I know. I would not recommend this movie to you. I would not recommend it to Aaron.
I'm taking this as an insult.
My little brother had his firstborn son last week. Congratulations, Michael. Nice. Congratulations, Rochelle.
Congratulations, Mikey.
I'm very excited. I would not recommend this movie to my brother. Mikey, do not watch this movie.
What about his kid?
Everyone else watch The Coffee Table. It is a tour de force. It is incredible. I loved it.
Wait, so don't watch it because there are some difficult horror moments. There are just some scenes that are tough to take.
It is the last 2/3 of it are almost impossible to take. And if you are a parent, I would understand how it would be unwatchable. You cannot even think about this movie. But I would guess that most of our fans are childless. Congratulations. You're like me on the SS Cool, sailing around the world. Watch The Coffee Table. I want people who've seen The Coffee Table to come up to me in the street and talk to me about La Mesa de Café. La Mesa de Café.
I feel like I could watch it. I have kids.
You could. And
I don't know if I'll like it though. But it's not because I have kids. I don't buy the whole like, oh, if you have parents and you can't watch certain things about kids. It's the same type of like that same type of person is like the type of dad that like only kind of half cares about women if they have a daughter. It's like you can care about kids whether you have kids or not,
Sure.
and you can separate art from not. And it still might be tough to take, but it would be tough either way.
Manchester by the Sea was a movie that I loved and sang the praises of when it came out a few years ago. And everyone who had kids was like, "Fuck you! I will never see that movie because I have kids."
But
And
I thought it was
understand
great. I thought it was great.
It's great. I think you could handle it more than Aaron could. I would if you ever get to see it, great. Aaron, I cannot imagine you enjoying this movie. But again, a giant smile on my face.
I also didn't like Manchester by the Sea, but not because of what happens to children in it.
I liked it enough that I watched it again, and then when I watched it again, I was like, why am I watching this again? I didn't need to watch it again. Once was good, but I still thought it was good.
I famously had to leave the theater watching Manchester by the Sea because I was laughing so hard and no one else was laughing.
Stop.
I swear to God. I left and I Googled, is it a comedy? And it was like dark comedy. And I was like, okay, thank God. And then watched it at home. And most
Which
of the
parts?
comedy
There is some comedy. We talked about that, I think, on this show, actually.
There's so much. I'm sure we did.
There was
so
a lot
much-
of jokes in it.
There's so much comedy.
I like this new setup, though. The TV is in a different angle. I can see Aaron back there.
Oh.
I could put my hand in front of the camera. And we got, most importantly, seaweed in the shot. I just wanted to point that out.
See, was in the shot. Wurzel's now like right behind my head. It's like I can see it.
3 episodes to go, and
In the
we're
back of
getting
my
better.
What else did I do this week? I went to Paso Robles. Paso Robles?
Robles?
No, Robles.
Robles.
Because I was not trying to pronounce it. I went, 3-hour drive out there. I had Megan Gailey opening for me. It was fun to catch up with her. And then got to the venue and found out it was outdoors. I did not know that going in. Thank you, Berkowitz, for not giving me a heads up. It was fine. It was also 50 degrees on stage. And by the end of my set, my face was frozen, but the audience was incredible. We had so much fun. Everyone was bundled up. I had a great time at this outdoor show. And then I got to see Cindy Wise. I don't know if that name means anything to you. Cindy Wise was the woman who hired me. You got me the job working for her at American Dreams. And then she hired me onto Deadwood and onto the unit. And she lives out in Paso Robles now. Brought her son who I used to babysit when he was a toddler, when I was working for her, is now the same age that I was when I worked for her.
Wow.
And it was wild to see them. He walked in and I was like, we've got a hug, man. Gave him a big hug. And he was like, I don't remember you at all. I was so young when you babysat me. I don't remember you at all. But it was great to see Cindy.
That's
great
one
to
more
see
hug than Greg's got.
Evan. You think I hug Greg here? We hug outside, so you don't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Because I know what you're like.
I mean,
Aaron.
in fairness, we do actually have a tattoo that says brothers don't shake hands.
Yeah.
They hug.
It doesn't say they hug.
Well, they don't
It
say
just
that,
says brothers don't shake hands,
but you
and it's written on a
understand it.
knife. I tried to do something nice for Greg this week. I went to a Dodger game and invited Greg to go. He was like, no, I'm going to see Waxahachie or whatever the fuck.
Waxahachie.
Waxahachie.
It's bad
and to
timing.
go.
It's like my one night plan for a month probably.
So I went and I was going to try to get Greg for his family the Shohei Ohtani bobblehead. I got to the game an hour and a half early. And I have never seen Dodger Stadium like this. I have been to Dodgers playoffs the last 2 years, and it was not this crazy in the parking lot. It was nuts. And we got there, and they were like, I was like, I've got the VIP pass. I've got the nice seats. Where do I go? And they were like, if you want the bobblehead, you get in this line. It's going to take you 2 hours to get in. You probably won't get a bobblehead. If you don't, you can.
They said that?
I swear
that
to God.
sounds like how Anthony heard it.
Because
but it's
people
not.
had been lined up forever, and the line was insane. And they're like, if you don't want the bobblehead, you can just walk in right here. We don't even have security in this line. You just walk right in and go enjoy the game. And my friend and I did exactly that, and watched the game. Dodgers lost, but the seats were great. I sat right behind Mary Hart, right behind home plate, which was really fun. One eagle-eyed former employee of Good Talk took a picture of the screen and saw me and my friend Raj Desai, who also wrote on Good Talk, behind home plate. I thought other people might see it. They did not. People aren't paying attention to Dodgers Reds in May.
Well, it's because you can't get it on TV anywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
That's not
It's
the only
impossible.
reason.
That's a big reason.
Okay. It's okay.
It's a big reason. I sort of I rethought it by the time the game night. I was like, wouldn't it have been more fun to go with my buddy Anthony, have this memory, nice seats for the Dodgers game, than be at a concert by myself as like a mid-40s man wondering like, am I too old for this again? Kind of standing towards the back. But she delivered. I do love me some Waxahachie, and so I think it was worth it.
I might go. I've got tickets to a concert on Thursday. I might go. I might not. I might just feel too old. We'll see. We'll see what I'm doing. And then another nice thing in Paso Robles is after the show, I see Cindy. I see her kid. I'm talking to them for a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's drive. Get out of here. And we pull out. And the traffic is insane. It's everyone leaving this thing, and they have 2 lanes. And then we get a security guard in front of us in this like little security truck, driving so slow. And I'm like, why are we going so slow? And then I realized they have a lane that's just for us to get out of here. So we passed by all the traffic with like a VIP lane, just for me. That was the coolest. And I've had the police escort out of a venue, and this was more fun. To have them just have like a lane just for us driving by everybody waiting in my traffic was awesome. So I enjoyed Paso Robles for that reason. And it was a fun show. This weekend I'm in San Diego-ish. A casino near San Diego.
Where?
I don't know what it's called.
What town?
It's near. I don't know. It's in my books as San Diego. I don't even know what the casino is. If you want tickets to it, Google it. It's this Saturday. I will be there. I'm excited. I get to drive in day of, drive out night of. I will be in my bed by midnight. It will be awesome. How was your week? You said Waxahachie was fantastic? I thought Waxahachie to me seemed like one of those giant collective bands. I didn't know it was just one girl.
Well, she has a great band, but it's essentially her project, her band. The band members behind her have changed over the years, so I consider it her. She's amazing. Her voice, just like everything about her, she is probably my number one, right now.
So, and Emika's number 2.
No, not like that, but just as a musician. Maybe Julian Baker, but I would probably take a Waxahachie show. So even though, yes, I was towards the back and on the outskirts trying to find like a good spot, eventually I did. I am sitting there thinking like, am I too old for this? But then they have, or at least this is how I experience concerts. If it's a band you really like, there's maybe 4 to 5 songs especially, and it might not be the big hits for me. It's that there's just like moments in those songs that are so transporting, I guess, that it makes it like you're like, okay, nothing really beats this. You got to come to the show. It's worth it. It's worth it. Bailing on your boy Anthony.
You weren't bailing on me. I invited you last minute, and you could not. You had other plans.
I actually regretted it. When I came in for the show last week, if you hadn't given your tickets already, by that point, I had already changed my mind that I was like, fuck it, I'll skip the concert, I'll go with you. But by then, you had already found someone. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. I did find someone. I also found a show to watch. I've been trying just to sit on my couch and decompress and unclench in this month and a half that I have. We just announced Australian tour dates. New Zealand. I'm coming to New Zealand. And then I just found out that I found the Asian tour dates that we're doing in Asia after Australia and after New Zealand. And then I still haven't found out India yet, but we're getting on that.
And are you doing Tokyo?
Yes, I believe we end in Tokyo. In the Asia tour. I believe it's Bangkok, Tokyo. I forget where in Thailand, but I'll announce it when I actually have it in hand. Aaron, I was going to watch Slow Horses because of your recommendation.
That's great.
And I've been seeing good things, and I watched the first episode. I liked it, but there's like a million episodes. There's like 3 seasons of that show now, so I bailed.
It's 6 each, so it's not too big a commitment.
I bailed on Slow Horses for now, and I watched in its entirety. I just finished it last night. Severance.
Oh yeah.
And it's fucking great.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And I get people like it starts slow, and then around episode 3 or 4 it kicks into gear. The last episode, the finale was like so tense.
Yeah.
And I loved it. When does season 2 come out?
They're shooting it now.
Okay, they're shooting it now, so there's no announcement date.
No.
Okay, I got some time. But yeah, Severance is fantastic. It's no La Mesa de Café. But it is fantastic. Anything else you want to talk about from the week?
I think I will try to watch that movie. Although I always say that when you recommend things on the show, and then I never do it. I don't follow through. In this case, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to stomach it.
I would love it. I would love to have someone to talk about this movie with. It is wonderful. And again, if you really want to find spoilers, you can find them. But if you're not going to watch it, go ahead and get it spoiled for yourself. But it is so good.
I did want to bring up, before we moved on, some Jeremy Renner news. Let's fly this up on the screen, Aaron, from the last week. I believe you saw this. It was from the Los Angeles Times. A couple people sent us just this pull quote of Jeremy Renner. It's a longer article about his experience at the hospital, but the pull quote has him sitting contemplatively with the Los Angeles Times photographer with the quote, "The doctor said I even broke my taint. How do you break a taint?"
I like the idea that he said this line and then stared off into space when they took that picture. Like he had just said it, and they were like, "Let's get a picture."
I even like the explanation. Jeremy Renner recalls his hospital experience, his off-color sense of humor evident. This picture delighted me. If we were going to add a third poster in the JRVB studios, if there's time, I would just make that into a poster. I love it.
It's not a bad one. And you can't really break your taint. You can pierce your taint, but you can't break it. There's no bone. It's not a taint bone.
No.
It's just skin. It's just the most luxurious skin on your body. If you were covered in taint skin, you would fly. And now it's time for Did We Get Any Notes?
New song alert.
Rolling. Did we get any notes?
Did we get any
Rolling.
notes?
Did we get any notes?
Did we get any notes?
No.
I love it. I love it. Listen, a lot of people wondering what's going to happen now that I said we're going to put a pin in things after 250. People wondering if we are going to come back, if this is like our cowardly way of getting out of the podcast. And I saw a bunch of people discussing this. And then I went back and watched what I said last week. I was very clear that we are coming back. I'm not going to do one of those like, oh, we'll take a break and then you just never see the podcast again. We're not going out like that. Maybe we do 251, and 251 is just me fucking yelling straight into the camera about how that's it. But it will not end with 250. We're going to take a break and see how I feel. I will tell you that during the week, I was like, okay, it'll be nice to have a break and then come back into the podcast. A big reason why it's become so unpleasant for me is because, and I've bragged about how little effort we put into the podcast. We still do put some effort into it. And with the tour and the road, I was increasingly unprepared because I just didn't have the time to commit to it. And it became more unpleasant. Having a little time, having the weekend to kind of look at things and think about, what I'm going to say or what we would talk about is easier. Although today, if it had been canceled for some reason, if like the Star Trek podcast that we had to delay for an hour for had like gone so long that they were like, oh, we can't do it today, I would have been fine with that. So let's hope that once we take the break at 250, I start to miss the podcast. But I would say we're definitely coming back for at least 251. I would guess.
I mean, that's hardly much of a commitment.
It's at least saying we're not ending at 250. I would be comfortable guaranteeing 300. We're going out in a number. It might be 500, but I guarantee that we will go past 250. But I don't know for sure. Is it possible that 250 is the end? It's on the table. I will say that. So let's try to make me happy. Let's try to bend over backwards and do anything I say, regardless of how it affects your family. Let's all try to be like Aaron for the next couple of weeks, couple of months, and see if we get more of me this year. But the idea of just not having a podcast is nice.
So we got a ton of emails about this. As you know, I read all the emails that Miss Kim sends along. One said, just be honest, you're not coming back. So I was going to have you address that, and you did. Many were appreciative and saying, you guys need a break. That's great. We love you. Can't wait till you're back. Some were almost angry at how lightly you took their devotion to you, how much the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project, Chair VP,
Junior Vice President.
how much it means to you, and saying, like, you can't do this to me. This is how much it means to me. I've got issues, and this really matters to me. And I read all these, and I was like, oh, these are kind of sad, and they're fun, and, you know, these poor listeners going through it, they got nothing to worry about. We're coming back. We're fine. And then, you know, now listening to you, now I'm more worried than I was last week. You know, I'm going to have to wear that low-cut dress next week.
Looking forward to that. That will get me back. What I've seen, what's interested in me,
Bring
is
that
people
bathrobe
saying,
back.
I think a lot of podcasts right now should take a break. A lot of podcasts right now, people are like getting mad at the podcast they're fans of because like they're run down. They're making too much money, so they got to keep it going. We make like just enough money that it's worth it, but not enough that we like have to do it. We can take a week off and be fine. But yeah, I think a lot of podcasts should do this. And again, I think we've been going straight through.
This is why you got to pay for the Patreon. You can see old Jeselnik knock his computer over.
We
with
never
his foot.
take time off. We never take breaks. So this is a much overdue. And let's just hope that I miss it. Let's hope that I miss it and that I want to come back. Just hope that I'm not like basking in the glow of not having this anymore and I'm like, fuck it. But listen, I've got a special coming out. When the tour is over and I'm promoting a special, I would rather come here and do this than do 99.99% of other podcasts. I'd rather just do this. So we'll be back for that. And then next year, when I've got nothing on the table, then I would imagine that this would be way more fun for me and I would really enjoy doing it. And that I would look forward to it every week. Instead of this being like, oh, fuck this thing I've got to do while I'm doing all these other things, I'll just have this. That sounds nice to me. But again, everything is on the table.
I mean, your computer wasn't a second ago.
Fuck you, Greg.
Imagine if I did that. You would be making a meal out of that for 20 minutes. We just would rename the show. Greg's a fuck up.
You wish you were good enough. You wish you were tall enough to be able to knock your computer off the table with your foot. You couldn't if you tried. You'd have to throw your shoe at it.
I do think, well, first of all, the tour, it totally makes sense. And you being on the we didn't even know you were doing all that time in Asia and Europe. You're really gone a long time. So it really makes a lot of sense anyways. But the whole every other week potential compromise, really might make it even easier on the old Jeselnik.
Yeah, that could be great. Everything is on the table. If you were betting on it, I would think that the lowest odds would be on 250 being the last episode. That would be like, unless like something happens to me.
You mean the lowest meaning? See, you don't know betting where the high, like the furthest odds.
The furthest odds.
The lowest
The least
chances.
likely thing to
Yes.
happen
Yes.
would be us stopping at 250. But who knows? I don't really give a fuck. And that was, did we get any notes?
Rolling. Did we get any notes?
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 And now it's time for
Ad copy.
It's basketball season, Anthony. You know what happens in basketball season?
playoffs.
I test my skills on prize picks this playoff basketball season. It's the most simple way to get in on the action. You select two or more players, you pick more or less on their projected stats, and you submit your lineups. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. As I mentioned up top, they offer injury insurance, so your lineup still works even if one of your players gets injured. If you have the player that exits the game in the first half, a lot of injuries this playoffs, and doesn't return for the second, Prize Picks will have your back, not count that as a loss. So I'm going to go through some Prize Picks here for you.
I'd love that.
We got a game going on right now. It's Celtics. It's my team. I'm excited about it. It's too late. Once the game starts, it's too late for your prize pick. So let's look ahead to the Western Conference Finals. I'm loving this Minnesota-Dallas matchup. As a Celtics fan, I'm glad they took out the Nuggets for the Celtics.
Me too.
I don't want a team with any experience. Minnesota, if they get through this, they're going to be tired when they get there.
Minnesota's going to win it all.
So
Shout out to Joe Mandy.
You're wrong. Celtics, they've been there before. They have the experience. They know it's a marathon. I think they'll get there. My prize picks for game one, Kyrie Irving, less than 21.5 points. Most people go more. Like, oh, more's fun. No, I'm going to root against Kyrie Irving, against the best defense in the league. Anthony Edwards is going to take that matchup sometimes. And then Derek Lively. I think he's going to have a nice series. Very quick. In the dunker spot. Luka Doncic, setting him up for a lot of dunks. More than 7.5 points. Those are my picks.
In the dunker spot?
Yeah, that's like, like the guy who is just kind of standing in the paint right next to the basket waiting for that alley-oop when the other guys are driving. And like Luka Doncic is always just setting him up.
The dunker spot.
Yeah, the dunker spot. I'm trying to sound cool. Download the app today. Use the code JRVP for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app. Use the code JRVP for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. I'm excited for this Helix ad read because we've been reading ads for Helix for years. It shows how much we love Helix. We've got our Helix Luxe mattresses. Now my kids have a Helix mattress. They love it. It improved our sleep. I miss it when I'm gone, but I'm extra excited to talk about it this month because they got a special deal. It's 30% off.
I travel the world, and I stay in the best hotels I possibly can. The best hotels available, and they have really nice beds. But even with those, like the luxury beds of the world, I can't wait to get home and sleep on my Helix bed with my dog.
You take the Helix sleep quiz. You find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. They have a 100-night trial, a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Everybody is unique. Everyone sleeps differently, and so you take the test. You figure out what's the best bed for you. 10 to 15-year warranty depending on the model. They deliver it straight to your door. You don't want to be dealing with going to mattress stores. Like, what is a mattress store in 2024? Get your Helix. Helix is offering up to 30% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/JRVP. Again, that's helixsleep.com/JRVP. This is their best offer yet. It will not last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now.
And that was
Ad copy.
And now it's time to take it down to a place that makes La Mesa de Cafe look like unfrosted. It's Email Corner.
And now it's time to take it down to a place that's never thriving. We have given it water, we've given it air, we've had sex with it repeatedly. It's Email Corner.
That's my new ringtone. That's a banger. That's a good song. Guys, emails are a thing for at least the next couple weeks. We got 2 more after this, and then who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what the AI revolution will bring us? Will emails still be a thing? I don't know, but for today, living in the moment, they are. JRVPJuniorVicePresident.com. Email us. Let us know what you think about putting a pin in it at 250. Let us know any kind of last-minute shouts you want to give us. Greg will read them. Miss Kim will read them. And I will listen to what Greg brings to me. Greg, bring me something.
And then I will put it into a file of emails we didn't get to that I liked. And that file is just going to sit there for 6 months. I don't know what we're going to do with that file. It's a big old file right now. Our first question is from Dickie. On a recent podcast, Anthony mentioned the 4 kinds of sex. Mm-hmm. The last being...
hand, mouth, anal, baby.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Dickie asked, what is baby sex? There was actually multiple baby sex emails, so that's why I wanted to choose this one. Is that sex that can result in a pregnancy and a baby, or is it just sex with a baby?
I think it's pretty obvious. It's penis-vagina sex. It's only breeders can do it. This is male-female sexual activity. It's penis-vagina. That's baby sex. Hand, mouth, anal, baby.
Okay. But if the woman is past the age of being able to have a baby, or the man had a surgery or something, is it still baby sex?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Our next email. I mean, I'm excited about that.
You should be. You should be fucking fired up.
I thought it was gonna involve a baby, and I'm relieved, frankly. This next one's long. Hey, Greg and Anthony, huge fan of the pod. Gonna miss it. She's also loved all 4 different kinds of sex. But she says, since the first time I ever gave oral, it's held a special place in my heart. She enjoyed doing it. Her fiance and her were doing all the things all the time until she got pregnant. I'm trying to squeeze this one a little bit because it's long. So during that time, she was giving him oral all the time. And now that her body has sorted itself out, her sex drive, and she had the baby, is back with the wrath of man. The first 2 times I was in the mood, she tried to initiate sex, got shut down. So then I tried waiting for him to ask me for a blowjob, then suggesting sex. 4 out of 5 times I tried that, she says, he wore me down into just giving him head. Last time I put my foot down, he agreed but asked me to take a shower first. The baby had just spit up on me earlier, so I wasn't insulted. While he was in the shower, he jerked off. That's a problem. I'm not a cheater. I won't separate my son from his dad just to get some action, but I'm getting really sexually frustrated. I don't know what to do. Anthony, I need your cunning wisdom. Greg, you don't know nothing about that. That's what she wrote.
That was Greg saying you don't know nothing about that, not Kendrick Lamar. Just in case you're doing audio and you're not watching the YouTube. First of all, don't bring up Wrath of Man when you're asking a question about making love. There's one love scene in Wrath of Man. Do you remember what it is, Aaron? I know Greg hasn't seen it yet.
No.
The one female character in the entire fucking movie who gets any dialogue just says to him,
Oh, that's right.
you want to get a drink? And then it just cuts to Jason Statham in bed looking furious while she's asleep. And it makes me laugh every time I see it, which has been dozens of times. Dozens of times. As far as your question, this is dead serious. Call an ambulance because something's wrong. Something is so wrong with your husband. I've never heard of a man not being sexually attracted to his wife right after she had the baby. I've never heard of it. It's not a thing. Aaron, you were telling us before the podcast, how many hours after your wife gave birth did you get it back in there?
I mean, nigh on 2 days at most.
48 hours. And you wanted the whole time. You were just kind of letting her rest. Greg, I think, how many hours?
Oh, we were still at the hospital.
Yeah. You want to get in there. You see the baby come out. You get a little jealous. You want to get in, reclaim what's yours. So a guy not being 100% sexually into his wife right after she had a baby is unheard of. I'm guessing it's fatal because it sounds so serious. The idea of a guy not wanting to put gas into a car that he's already wrecked is unbelievable to me. I don't know what to say. Maybe your husband's sugar. Maybe he's an alien and you're only finding out now 6 episodes into the season. I don't know what to tell you, sweetheart. This is a first time I've ever heard something like this. They didn't build an entire 8 seasons of Married with Children around this concept. They didn't do that at all. Thank you for writing in. Your husband's sugar. He's an alien.
What do you know?
What do you have to add to this?
What do you know about your sexual attraction to someone that bore your child?
I know it's got to be immediate. I know that when you see that little opening get basketball big,
It doesn't get
and then you see a child come out, you want to get in there. It is sexual.
You don't know nothing about that.
Everyone says the sex gets better in a marriage. A, the longer you're in it, and B, right after a baby comes out. Immediately after.
There is a crazy hormone release after the fact. Towards the end of a woman's pregnancy, you actually start to pheromonally get some of her estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And then as soon as the baby's born, testosterone flows back into you and her.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it sounds great.
I mean, it's a pretty dick move that he asked her to take a shower, and then he jerked off while she was in the
it to
shower.
her in the shower at least?
No, I don't think so. While I was in the
She was
shower,
in the shower. He jerked off. He was like, let me eliminate this possibility.
Jesus.
I don't want to.
it'd be one thing, yeah, if she was involved in it in the shower, but yeah, that's pretty rude.
Call an ambulance. Something's wrong with him. He's a sugar.
Last
He's got to
email.
be a sugar.
Is from one of our listeners who's a 50-year-old married woman who absolutely adores you, Anthony, and Greg, and the podcast. Glad you're taking a break for yourself, even though we'll miss you, bones and all. I know how to solve your problems with Rummy, she says. Watch Cesar Millan. Seriously, I started watching during the pandemic, high as fuck, and realized he knows the secret to life. Calm, assertive energy. It sounds stupidly simple, but it is. I've attended 2 trainings with Caesar, and it's changed my life. The dog is totally different. I'd happily fly over to help you free of charge, but she knows you're not going to want that. So instead, watch Cesar Millan, especially the episode with Jerry Seinfeld and his dogs, and you'll get it immediately, and you'll figure out quickly how to change your relationship with Rummy. You'll be able to walk with him off a leash, not legal in LA, trim his nails yourself, and eventually even fly with him. Best of luck. She's going to see you in London. She lives in Honolulu, but she's coming to see you in London. That's a real fan.
That's great. I mean, London is as close as I get to Honolulu to perform. I don't know much about Cesar Millan. I know there's been some lawsuits with some things with him. But my dog trainer, who I have had, was against Cesar Millan. Was just like, people keep talking about him. He's very much into an alpha. You got to be the alpha with your dog. Put the dog on its back so that the dog knows that you're the alpha. I've never gotten into that. And listen, I don't have a dog. I have a Rummy. Rummy got that Akita personality that they're only so trainable. He's got the Jindo personality, only so trainable. And I like Rummy's personality. I'm not trying to train it out of him. I would never have him off leash. I live in the city. I can't have him off leash. I would never do that. On a trail outside, yeah, I can take him off leash if it's safe. I know he'll come back to me. He's a great dog. I love my dog. I don't need to Cesar Millan him. I'm sure he's not a bad guy, but if I'm going to watch Jerry Seinfeld get his dogs trained, I'd rather watch Unfrosted again. And have a dog that's not that well trained, and I get to see Unfrosted. It gets funnier every time you watch it. I can't wait until the Oscars get nominations get announced and see how many they get. What's the record, Aaron, for Oscar nominations?
I believe it's like 13 or 14.
13 or 14? Yeah. It's going to be 15 starting next year when Unfrosted gets nominated across the board. I don't know who edited that movie. They're getting an Oscar. I don't know who did sound effects for Unfrosted. They're going home with a golden trophy.
Aaron, have you had to start preparing any of the for-your consideration materials for your boss, Billy Burr, in his performance in the movie?
I have not.
He's good. He's real good. It's funny in the blooper reel at the end of the movie. I swear this is totally true. They have a thing of Burr where Burr's like getting notes. He's like reacting to getting notes. He's dressed up like JFK. He's got the wig on, and they're being like, yeah, you're being too serious. And it's funny to see him basically tell them all to go fuck themselves. You got to see Unfrosted.
Aren't you gonna miss JRVP?
The coffee table.
Like if you were in a situation where Unfrosted had come out when you're overseas or when you're back and JRVP is on its break and you have no one to share your Unfrosted enthusiasm with.
Maybe I'll miss it.
Special episode.
I'd be happy to miss that. Is that all of them?
Yeah.
And that was Email Corner. Shine on, emails things.
And that was
And now it's time for headlines. Let's get to them.
Oh yeah, good to have headlines.
Let's get to
Oh yeah, I'm excited for these headlines. Oh yeah,
headlines. Let's get to them.
Got a little too sloppy on
oh
time.
yeah.
I'll miss these songs. Aaron, put these on an MP3 player and send it to me.
On the morning of her wedding, Anthony, Caitlin Palmieri tragically learned that her 33-year-old fiance died by heart attack that morning while getting ready for the big day. So that was tough. Until she later found out he had also been ruthlessly leading a separate double life with a girlfriend on the West Coast. So, mistake avoided?
Yeah, look, if you were getting married and your fiance dies of a heart attack on the wedding day, they did not want to marry you. That's why they had the heart attack. It's because they were like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I have to do it. And then they die. And their last moments are of relief that they are not marrying you. I read this story. It said double life. And I'm like, oh, was he a spy? Was he doing something? No, he just had another girlfriend. He traveled for work and he had another girlfriend somewhere else that she found out about, that the fiance found out about way later. I think everyone's a winner here. Everyone's a winner because the guy didn't have to marry the woman he didn't want to.
Yeah.
He gets to die with all his secrets being intact. And then they find out after the fact, now bro's a legend. Bro is a legend for pulling this off. Once you die, let it all out there. Let people find out the shit that you were doing. If you don't want to find out, like when you're on your deathbed, you don't want to be like grabbing your chest, falling to the ground, and then like, hey, what are these text messages? After you die, great. That's when you want to get caught having a fiance and a girlfriend. I think that the fiance, the woman who's still alive, now has this story that she can and is telling everyone who will listen. I would not want to be the next guy she goes out with on a date or the next 10 guys, but she has her story. And the big winner is the chick that the side piece in another country that he was seeing.
She was in California. Yeah, he was
California.
making West Coast business trips.
Yeah.
Or he said that. It's a little confusing. And he basically had a girlfriend set up on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think everyone's a winner. I think if you have a girlfriend and you're getting married to someone else, your best case scenario is dying day of the wedding.
What about the theory that there's no afterlife and you're not going to find out about what a legend you are, and this time on Earth we have, like, it's only going to be worth as much as the moments like we can get out of it, and that when most people are on their deathbeds, they're just wanting more. They're not saying like, oh, I want to die. They're like, no, just give me like 7 more minutes. They just want more. And this guy doesn't get any of those minutes.
You know that my religious beliefs are that when you die, you go into like a VIP room where you're by yourself and you watch everyone talk about you for the rest of time. You know that's what I think happens. You know it. I think it's great. I think
Are there books in the room? What else is going on? That does sound pretty great. But I
let
want
the
some
dirty
books.
laundry out when you're dead. It's fine. It's fine. It's better than getting married. Heart attack day of. It's not even sad. You're just like, oh, he got out of this one.
I feel like you share things with me, but I'm curious what I'll learn about you if you die before me. You probably will.
I would assume. I would hope. I would hope I would either die before Greg or at the exact same time. At the exact same time would be if we were both jogging and they just came around a corner at the wrong time, slammed into each other, died. That would be appropriate. That would be episode 251. Everyone would listen to that.
The winner, you said the biggest winner was the woman in California. And yeah, and the wife, by the way, the fiance would definitely disagree with you. She said it's ruined her life. She's been a mess mentally the last handful of years.
She got out of having to marry a guy who was leading a double life. Sure. She wins too.
Okay.
She gets to keep the presents from the wedding. She gets all that stuff.
I don't know if that's how it works, but she found out because the other woman posted a message on her Instagram, but like, adding the fiance, and she
Called
was
him a
like,
different name.
yeah, and she was just like, huh? What? And I think she had access to his account. She was just like, huh? What is this? And she's talking about it like, my love, the love of my life. Like, oh, who's this other woman? And so she contacts her, and they compare notes and realize, oh yeah, like he's been having this relationship with you since before he even asked me to get married. But the thing that really got me was the fiance said, the quote, the last text they shared together were disgusting sexual messages that he sent to her just days before the wedding. Like, why is the other woman sharing the disgusting sexual message? And what are how is it disgusting?
Yeah, there's nothing disgusting about it. It's fine. No kink shaming. I don't know why you're posting your L's on Main Street like this. When you hear your fiance died the day of your wedding from a heart attack, everybody knows that he was so happy to die. That he was so fired up to not have to marry you. Stop talking about
The
it.
body is crazy, though. Like, you are going through something or stressed out, and it's like suddenly start grinding your teeth, or you start getting like IBS, or in this case, you're doing a marriage that you shouldn't be doing, and you get a heart attack. Like, it's a crazy thing, the human body.
If you walk down the aisle of your wedding, and when they say, do you take this person to be your lawfully wedded whatever, and you say, fuck no, I hate this dumb motherfucker, and then you walk away, that is less not wanting to get married than having a heart attack day of. That is the most I don't want to get married shit I've ever heard in my life.
Do you feel bad that 5 years previous to this is crazy, she was dating a man who slipped into a body of water during her 30th birthday celebration after falling unconscious and died 6 days later? The same woman.
This guy was like, this party sucks. I can't believe the demands she's made about a fucking 30th birthday party. Let me go take a dip. He wanted out. This is how much she sucks. Is that anyone, like, people are just trying to end their own lives instead of spend one more minute with you. Yeah, that did make me laugh at the end of the article when she was like, and my last boyfriend died on my 30th birthday party in a crazy accident. No, he was fucking over it.
Damn, that headline was like what is it called? The Casa de Tu Padre, or what is it?
Casa de Tu Padre. Aaron, that's the title. Casa de Tu Padre. The home of my father?
Your father.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. A zoo in China has been accused of trying to deceive visitors with a pair of dogs dyed black and white to look like panda bears. Zoo officials have told Chinese state media that they were Chow Chows, a fluffy dog originally from northern China. And if you're on the YouTube, you can see these dogs. I gotta admit, they're cute. They look
so
like little
cute.
panda dogs.
They're so cute.
Love them.
This is why it gets in the news. Zoos trying to pull something over on people is always funny because you don't have to do this. You could just be like, we don't have pandas, and everyone's going to be like, okay. No one ever riots over missing animals. No zoo has everything. It's not fucking Noah's Ark. So if I went in and saw dogs painted, and they do a good job. They do a good job of painting these dogs as pandas.
Well, except for
I'd
they
be
have
just
tails.
as happy. Yeah, but they're cute. They're so cute. I think I'm fine with it. And like, how big is this zoo? Why do they need to have pandas? Just don't have the animal. We don't have that one.
Yeah, it's in the eastern province of Zhejiang. They say it seems like an overblown story. I think if you just put the word panda dogs in a headline, it's gonna do numbers because I went and found like various stories similar to this over the years, and they said, or at least they told Chinese state media, that they weren't trying to fool anyone, that it was advertised as panda dogs. It was just like a fun thing that they were doing, but some people just got all worked up about it anyways.
I would believe it. I mean, you go to the zoo, you want to see something they made up. It's totally fictional. Hey, look, they got panda dogs. I'd love to see the sign.
I would want to see it.
Dogs.
They're cute, and there are all these groups that are like, oh, that's not nice to the dogs and this and that, which I guess is true.
I don't think
but
so,
like,
because I see groomers who do the make it look like something else, and it's always really cute. You get the line cut, you get a little dye job. I think those dogs are having a great time.
I think once you start questioning that, then you almost start questioning the entire human dog setup that's going on right now, where you're keeping them as these little subservient pets, whether that even makes sense at all. Maybe we should just let them. Maybe we just let them.
Your dogs
go
aren't
wild.
trying to get away. Your dogs are happy to be around you. It's not like your turtle seaweed who would rather fucking die than spend another second in your care.
She's cute.
R.I.P. seaweed.
Um,
And at the zoo, why not just say panda enclosure and be like, oh, you can't see them, they're sleeping. I've gone to so many zoos where you walk up to the cage and you can't see anything. Yeah. People are looking, it's like, oh, it's hot now. They just ate lunch. They're sleeping in the tall grass. You can get away with it. You don't gotta paint the dog.
Pandas, though, are the number one things that zoos can have. Like, I think San Diego Zoo just got some pandas, and they were making a huge deal over it. There were some pandas on loan in Tokyo last year, and people will line up for like an hour just to see the panda. Pandas
are cool.
are the number one thing you can have.
Pandas are cool. Red pandas are dope. I get a lot of red panda videos on my TikTok. But I'll tell you what, I've been to the San Diego Zoo, and I walked all around that motherfucker looking for the lions. I wanted to see the lions because lions are cool, and I'll tell you what I ended up loving the most. Where I think every zoo I go to, I just want to see the elephants. The elephants are big, and they're fun to watch. Giraffes are big, not that fun to watch. You see it, and you're like, all right, I'm good. I could watch elephants eat and shit and do whatever all day long. It's fun.
There was an example in a different province last year that a zoo was accused of having a human in disguise as a sun bear. Mm-hmm. Experts were saying it couldn't have been a person. It was too hot, but I don't know if you can trust the Chinese state media here. I think it might have been a person in a sun bear outfit.
Ooh. We might get canceled. We might get Jon Stewarted for taking on China on this podcast. Listen, I say paint the elephants like a panda bear, and then you'll have the number one zoo of all time.
I'd say the emails this week were better than the headlines. I like this one, but it's just something from the Am I an Asshole subreddit that got written about in the New York Post. Have you ever gone on that subreddit? You ever go on Reddit?
I go on Reddit, yeah.
Okay.
I like Reddit.
So the Am I an Asshole subreddit, this woman set up a scenario last week, curious for your take. On a 12-hour flight to Hawaii, she took a first-class upgrade and left her 6'6" brother behind in coach. When she arrived in Hawaii, he was pissed off, and her family proceeded to shun her at brunch the next day and think that she was being a dick. She asked, is she an asshole?
Yeah, I read this article too. It gets even crazier because it was like they're together, brother and sister. She gets the upgrade. A first-class passenger didn't show up. She's got the miles. She travels for work. They give her the upgrade. She just takes it. He doesn't even say anything to her. Not until they get off the flight is he mad. If it's that big a deal to you, and I get 6'6", 6'8", whatever, it's hard to be in coach. Buy yourself a first-class ticket if you're that tall. Do what you need to do to get mad at your.
Costs too much money for
people. Of course. If you're 6'8", though, what are you complaining about? You had your ticket for your seat. You're going to Hawaii. I think he's a dick for being mad. He could have been like, hey, I wish you'd given that to me. And if you're going to do that, you do it before you get on the flight, not afterwards when you've been thinking about it. And then to turn the family against her, her family, she's adopted because they're insane for turning on her and taking his side over it. I agree. It would have been very nice if she had given him the upgrade as 6'8", but he's not like 7'2". He's not Wembanyama. He's 6'6". She got the upgrade. She travels more. It's fine. And certainly not like ruining a vacation. Once you get to Hawaii, you should forget about the flight. It's not like he got downgraded for her. This family is petty. They fucking suck. I want to paint them up like panda bears and make him have sex with the woman who just had a baby.
Also, 6'6", not 6'8", so more,
Can you transfer a first class upgrade?
More-
You could just say you sit here. They're not going to do anything
you could
about
do it.
that.
You'd be like, hey, my brother's going to take it.
Yeah.
It would be fine. It's sick. Emeka and I have done that, I believe, or you can talk about that. I wanted her to do that for me, but he's 6'6", so that's more like Pete Gardner than 6'8" with Jason Tatum or something. 6'8's even extra. But you made the key point. You're just sitting back there and coach like a little bitch, and you didn't say a goddamn word. And she even said, hey, if you wanted me to send you any food back there or whatever, let me know. All you got to do is stand up and go talk to her. It's a 12-hour flight. You're just I hate that personality type where you'll just be stewing on it. Instead, you could have done something about it. She probably would have given it to you because she's nice. But you know what? You've gotten a lot of good things out of your life for being 6'6". You were better in basketball. It's proven that you'll make more money if you're taller. You get more women. How about you go sit back and coach while your sister luxuriates? She's 5'1".
But also, being tall doesn't mean you deserve first class. Like if I'm getting upgraded and someone next to me is like, oh, actually, I'm 4 inches taller than you. Can I take that? Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit how tall you are. You can sit coach. You bought a coach ticket. If she hadn't gotten upgraded, you would have been fine. Your whole family sucks.
Have you ever been in that situation where you had to not give a first class upgrade, but anything similar to that, where you had to? Because she worked for it. You make a good point. She worked for it. That she did all the traveling to get that upgrade. She's a regular traveler.
Yeah, no, I mean, not really. Like I've flown first class a lot. I always buy it. I never just wait for the upgrade. But I've never been. If someone got upgraded, if you and I are flying together, let's say we can't get out of town. It's like this is the last plane. We got to fly coach. All right. And we're in it. Let's say we get an exit row and they upgrade you to first class. I'm not mad at you at all. Right. I'm happy for my friend. I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm taller. I'm more used to flying first class. The brother sucks and the whole family fucking sucks twice as much for taking his side. You're in Hawaii. Enjoy Hawaii. You pieces of garbage.
I had this happen sort of with my wife when we went to New Orleans. I had TSA pre, and hers didn't come through in time, and so I stood in the line with everybody else, which sucked.
I've sat in the regular line with someone who didn't have pre, and I've just been like, fuck it, I'm going through LC on the other side. Both are fine. It's not you don't have to be with someone all the way. You hold their hand through airport security. I don't want to take my shoes off. I'll meet you on the other side. It's fine. Only an asshole would get mad. And Aaron, what you did was nice. Mm-hmm. If she'd given him the upgrade, she's Mother Teresa without all the bullshit that Mother Teresa had. You know what I'm talking about. I'm cool.
Last headline.
That's a good one. I like the new stuff.
Yeah, he made that longer for you per your request last week.
Oh, wow. He's taking requests.
I would, you know what? If he's taking requests, I would go even longer with it.
Oh, yeah.
I would make a meal out of that.
Our last headline is about an Algerian man who had been missing for 26 years and was found this week in his neighbor's house just a few minutes walk away. This is a very confusing story, Anthony. Do you want to hear more?
Yes.
The man, only identified as Omar B., had vanished at the age of 19 during the Algerian Civil War in 1998. His family assumed he had been kidnapped or killed. The man who was found is 45 years old.
And he's just living at the neighbor's house?
I need more answers. But the family members began searching the suspect's house somehow. Through like some sort of family inheritance story, they had suspicions about what was going on with this other guy who was only a couple hundred yards away, a neighbor. And as they went through this house, he suddenly became tense when they approached a haystack, and they just then eventually found their brother, Omar B., sitting quietly underneath the haystack.
And how long was he missing for?
26 years.
Yeah,
he's now 45.
Your brother hates you. He didn't get kidnapped. If he's living, the neighbor's doing him a favor and letting him live there. And for 20 years?
26 years. He's now 45. He was 19. apparently the captor's brother aired grievances on social media, reportedly due to an inheritance dispute, and then they started checking out what was going on with this guy, and the media said it was because of a spell that I don't think it's not a happy story, that he somehow tricked this guy into like being, I don't know if it was like a slave situation but their words were because of a spell that the captor had cast on him. I mean,
No, a dude casting a spell on another dude that lasts 19 years, and you're 100 yards away.
26 years.
And you're not locked in a basement. You are sitting in a haystack. Why did they start looking for him again after 20 years? You got to think he's dead. If you think he's at the neighbor's house, you messed up. There's got to be way more to this story. It's not tragic. Remember those girls in Cleveland who were like locked in a basement for decades, and one of them eventually got out? That was crazy. Yeah. And again, I'm not choosing sides in that story either. That one you could take it or leave it. But this guy hated his family. I want to know what about the family was so bad that you hid for 19 years in a haystack.
26
100
years.
yards away.
I mean, I think, a couple hundred yards. I think it was like a cellar, but he also was a haystack was in the cellar.
Or on top of it, yeah.
I don't know what is going on. The teen's alleged abductor has also been accused of killing his dog with poison. The year that it went missing, actually, because it was a story at the time. They found the 19-year-old's dead dog, like killed with poison at the time that he was abducted, and that was like the only piece of evidence that they had when he took this guy. I don't know. Now he's a 61-year-old doorman at a government municipality in a nearby town, and he tried, like they caught him, and he tried to get out of there. I'm gonna say he's not mentally right.
I'm going to guess he's not mentally right. The family's not mentally right. The neighbor who was cool with a 26-year house guest 100 yards away from where he lives is not right. What country is this?
Algeria. And
they're fucking nuts over there. I'll say it. With Wurzel as my witness.
And they linked off to like the original sources for this. Okay, I was like, I'm going to find more information. It's in Arabic. I can't read that. News report.
No, you can't, huh?
Do you think it's possible that this guy who was hidden for 26 years was engaged to the woman for the story before?
Ooh, a callback, Aaron. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for
Choo-choo!
Recommendation Station. Greg, what do you got this week?
Okay, I read a book that was called An I Novel by Mine Mizumura.
E-Y-E
Mine,
or letter I?
Letter I-novel, an I novel by Mine Mizumura. She's a Japanese author who's recently been translated a couple of her books, including this one. It's very much like an autofiction of a style that kind of reminded me of my guy Nausgaard or Rachel Cusk, except it was written in the 90s. So it was before that ever came out, and it's an experience of a Japanese immigrant who was living in New York City for like 20 years with her family. She grew up in New York, Long Island, and then New York City for 20, 30 years before moving back to Japan. And it was sort of her dream to become an author. And at first I was like, man, this is a slow burn. It's known as like kind of a groundbreaking, experimental, really influential book in Japan. I was like, I don't know if I'm into it. And then by the end, I was totally into it. I couldn't put it down. She's a great writer. I think it was really smart on people that are stuck between two cultures and not really fitting in either one. And the fact that it was written in the 90s is badass, and it was sort of a success story. I'm not giving anything away, but I like the kind of books where the existence of the book itself is sort of like a great ending.
Mm-hmm. Sounds cool. Aaron, do you have anything you want to recommend this week?
I'm going to recommend a band, the Wolves of Glendale.
Oh, wow.
They are a trio, a comedy trio. Ethan Edberg, Eric Jackowitz, and Tom McGovern. Ethan and Eric used to have a podcast here on the network called Success Express.
This just keeps getting worse and worse.
It's really funny. And these guys are amazing musicians who are also really funny. And they opened for Tenacious D. And now they're going on tour, and they have their first album out, and it's amazing.
I support you, Aaron, but judging by Anthony's facial reaction during that, which I've been on the receiving end many times during Recommendation Station, I don't think we're getting episode 252.
The wolves.
That was it.
The wolves of Glendale or the werewolves of Glendale?
Wolves of Glendale.
Because I'll tell you what, I would have fucked with the werewolves of Glendale. That's funny. Wolves of Glendale, it's a missed opportunity. No listening.
Trust me, their songs are so catchy and almost retro 70s 80s sounding, and then just the jokes build, and they tell these crazy stories in the songs. They're really funny.
Why would I want to listen to comedy musicians when I could just listen to the audio of Unfrosted?
Good point.
My book this week, it's a brand new book. I love this writer, Hari Kunzru. He wrote Red Pill. He wrote A White Tears that I read a couple weeks ago and have not recommended, but it's a great book. And then he wrote this new one that came out last week called Blue Ruin. Let me set it up for you. All right? Let's say in like the 80s, there are two painting students. They're artists, and they become friends, and they're doing drugs, and they're getting fucked up in art school, and they're going to be great painters. And a woman comes between them. One guy starts dating her. They're getting too fucked up. The woman leaves him for his best friend, and they go off. The best friend becomes a world-famous painter. 20 years later, 25 years later, the other guy, the other painter, has given up painting. He's doing grocery runs. He's like one of those, like, it's the pandemic, and he's delivering groceries to people. And he's had COVID, and he goes to a house to deliver groceries, and he's like still fucked up. He's like over COVID, but he's like still messed up by it. And it's the ex, his ex-girlfriend, who's now married to the other artist. He goes to their house, and they see each other for the first time in like 20-some years and end up staying together in this little compound during the pandemic. It's about art. It's the first pandemic novel that I've actually enjoyed. It didn't feel like it was kind of like rehashing stuff, but it's about like the kind of what it means to be an artist and the rewards of being an artist and the relationships you have. I thought it was incredible. It's I've read it in a couple days, 250, 300 pages, but I really it might be my favorite of the Hari Kunzru books I've read, even though I really did love White Tears a lot. I'll recommend both White Tears and Blue Ruin, but Blue Ruin is a great book by Hari Kunzru, Kunzru. And that was Recommendation Station. Debbie, I got two more of these left. Get me out of here with some style.
Whoa, Nelly Furtado. That's a spicy meatball. Is that okay, Greggy?